figure out another word for welcome. And whatever that word is, that's what you all are to episode 150 of the Parkrun Adventurers podcast. My name is Mel. My co-host name is Scotty. How are you doing this week, Scotty?
Arigato, Mel. Now, I don't think that is welcome.
That's not welcome.
I don't even think that's hello.
Yeah, it's hello.
Is it hello? I think it actually might even be thank you.
Konnichiwa is hello.
There you go.
But it's definitely not welcome. I think bienvenue, is that welcome in Spanish?
That's French.
I don't think it is. Bonjour is French, but it's not welcome.
Geez, you're off to a good start. Well, I was staying on theme. Like, have you heard we're launching parkrun in Japan?
Well, yes, we did mention it in the podcast a couple of weeks ago.
Now, by the time this episode's out, everyone will know when it's launching and where it's launching.
Are you sure?
Yep. But I'm not going to say in case something happens in the next, day
That's
or so.
That's probably wise.
So let's talk about it on episode 151 because there is some significance to the Parkrun Adventurers and the Japan launch.
Is there?
Yeah. You'll find out next week.
Looking forward to finding that out.
Yep.
Cool. New country coming on board.
But this week we're all about celebrating. But this week we're all about celebrating 150 episodes, which is really only 149. But we've given it the label of 150, so it's party time.
It is party time, and we are going to get out the scissors and the sewing machine, cut our 100 shirts and 50 shirts in half, so we look like some sort of version of the court jesters with half black and half red. So we have a nice 150.
Hey, you mentioned 150 shirt there. I want to take this off on a tangent that's somewhat related. This is one of the good things about parkrun. Right, everyone is treated equal. So as you all know, well, maybe you don't know, but a couple of weeks ago I ran my 250th parkrun, and when you reach such an illustrious milestone such as that, you get a T-shirt. So I went through the process of waiting for my email and then going through the ordering.
Waiting for your email? Do people even get emails anymore?
Yeah, you get an email saying, congratulations, you've achieved your milestone. You can now order your shirt. And this is what I'm saying, Mel. Despite working for the organisation, no privilege, I've got to wait. And I went through the process, put my order in, and it's in pre-order. So I've got to wait a couple of months for my shirt. But you know what I also did?
Tell me.
I don't fit into my old shirts anymore. So I was tempted to order the large, thinking, that way, at least I'll fit into it and I'll be happy to wear it. But then I thought, well, I've got a couple of months to wait for it. Maybe that could be my motivation to actually get moving for the next couple of months so that when my shirt does arrive, I'll actually fit into it.
So it's like you're the bride who has bought a couple of sizes smaller than she actually fits into in the hope that she will lose weight before the wedding.
Yep, I'm that bride.
Okay.
So fingers crossed, I've got according to Parkrun Global, I've got about 2 months to wait. No. God, it's longer. I've got to wait 3 months.
Okay.
Before it arrives, which is fine. I might actually do something.
Well, it's a good way as we enter into autumn and winter to keep you motivated, I guess.
Yep. And I started on the right track on Saturday.
Okay, where were you park running?
We went down to Frog Hollow Parkrun. I visited Frog Hollow for event number 1, their launch 5 years ago, and returned for their 251st event on Saturday. And the reason we were there is because as a coach now, I'm not sure if you're aware, but I'm an accredited coach. I've been coaching up my Westerfoldian buddies. We did a 6-week program on the track, on the proper athletics track, to try and improve our running. And we all headed down to Frog Hollow, which is one of the known courses in Melbourne if you want to go and get a PB, because it's dead flat. It's got a good reputation for running quick times. So en masse, the Westerfoldians hit up Frog Hollow in search of our parkrun PBs. And I'm glad to say that a few of the Westerfoldians got an actual PB. A lot of them ran their fastest time in a number of years, including my beautiful wife.
Wow.
And it was a successful, happy day. And I ran with Kasha. And it is a fast course because Kasha and I, we ran really well for 2K. Well, with the introduction of Junior Parkrun, that's kind of it for Kasha. It's like, nope, 2K is enough. Let's just walk the rest of the time. That was fine by me.
So I'm impressed that some people that you coach actually have improved. You're taking full credit for this, I'm assuming.
Absolutely. Okay. Yep. Some may think it was a team effort. I didn't take every training session, but I'm taking most of the credit. And they did all the work and they achieved all the results. But yeah.
Team effort.
But I'm very happy. I'm very happy for them, for everybody. It was a good morning.
Awesome.
How was your parkrun morning?
My parkrun morning was fairly quiet. It was a bit overcast. Nothing super exciting to report home about. I volunteered again at my home event, so everybody's been there, heard that. We don't really need to go into it. Adam didn't steal any tokens this week, so I'm taking that as a win.
Now, a little story popped up on my social feed a couple of weeks ago, and it was a little story coming out of Malaysia where one keen globe-trotting parkrunner had visited a few different parkruns in a few different countries. And we thought, we need to speak to this gentleman. So, welcome to the Parkrun Adventurers, Mr. Greg Lloyd.
Hello. It's nice to be here.
It's great to have you. It's a very formal intro, Greg. Or we might just go with, what are you, Greg? Are you Lloydy? Have you got a nickname?
There's a funny story about that. My name is Gregory Lloyd, but I prefer to go by Greg. But I, a couple of years ago, got some parkrun shirts done with my surname on it. And so about half of my home parkrun call me Lloyd. I think as a joke now. Yeah.
Right. Okay, well, let's go with that. You're Lloyd to us. But Lloyd, you went to parkrun 8 weeks in a row, but the unique thing about it is they were in 8 different countries.
That's right.
Remarkable feat. How did you orchestrate it?
Well, I guess first I had to go on holiday. So I went on quite an extensive 6-week holiday to Canada and the USA and to Europe. And I just made sure that I was in a parkrun city every Saturday. And it wasn't too hard. Each of those countries has a parkrun nearby. I made sure, of course, to be in a city that had multiple parkruns in case there was a cancellation. And then I guess it just sort of all happened. It all worked out quite well to get to each of those countries in that holiday. Now, then I got back to Australia and I saw on my Facebook feed somebody by the name of Tony Jennings from Sydney had just taken sort of a record, as it were, of 7 countries in a row. And I thought, well, I'm not going to be outdone. So I booked a holiday to Auckland and I booked a holiday to Malaysia over the subsequent weekends. And so that brought me to 8 countries in total.
8's a pretty impressive number. Did you specifically not extend? I mean, obviously time and money are always a factor in these things, but did you not just want to like smash the record and go for 10 or 12 and just make it really difficult for other people?
Life gets in the way. I had to go back to work at one point, so that would be trying the friendship to take even more leave. So I had considered heading to Singapore for the weekend, but after Malaysia, it was pretty tiring to sort of leave work on a Thursday afternoon and be in a Southeast Asian country for the Saturday morning. So I decided that maybe I'll just leave that one for my next holiday.
Can you recap the 8 weeks for us, Greg? Like what countries did you go to and which parkruns did you visit?
Yeah, sure. So the first was in Canada, and that was a really nice parkrun in a sort of a forest area called Duffin's Trail outside of Toronto. It was extremely cold, minus 11 degrees and just snow and ice everywhere. But I came first. I was very excited. I think that'll never happen again. Then I went to Washington, D.C. One of the parkruns, the one that I wanted to go at Roosevelt Island, was actually cancelled. And so because of the government shutdown, so I went to Anacostia, which was nice. It was a wonderful parkrun that was along the river. Very nice, and really nice people as well. So that was great. Then we went on to Sicily in Italy, in a town called Palermo. The parkrun there is called Foro Italico, and that was on the sort of seaside. Very nice, along a big long stretch of the ocean. Again, great people. I guess this is the common theme about parkruns. Everybody is just so generous and kind. Then after that, Copenhagen at Amager Strand Park, which was sort of on the ocean again. Was a bit of a blustery day, but they were very hospitable there. Then down to Nidda Parkrun in Frankfurt. And so the Germans, they don't have such a great reputation for being friendly, but these guys were extremely friendly. They were wonderful people. Then it was back home to my home parkrun of Ginninderra. Ginninderra, I've run it, I think, about 190 times now, so I really, really like it, and was probably my favourite of the 8. But I won't tell everybody that, except on a podcast. And then it was across to Western Spring in Auckland. That was really quite an interesting parkrun. It was next to the zoo. There were lots of ducks. There's a whole corner of the parkrun that you run past twice that is just completely saturated by duck poo, because there are about 1 billion ducks in the area. And then on to the Malaysian parkrun at, I'll probably butcher this name, but I think it's Taman Udu Pudu or something like that. And that was extremely hot, but in quite a nice park that's been built up in the middle of the city. So that's the 8 in a row. And I don't want to pick any favourites other than my home parkrun.
You're sabotaging my questions. Well, okay, you don't need to pick favourites. However, I am going to pick out Sicily. How did you find that one? Because it's one that my hubby has recently highlighted. He loves to window shop. I don't like looking at things that I can't have anytime soon, but he loves to go and check out all the things that we could do or could see and that sort of thing. Were you in Italy for very long, and specifically Sicily? And what else did you do while you were there apart from parkrun?
Yeah, so I was in Sicily for, I think, 5 days. Overall, it was a lot of museums and the dreaded cathedral that everybody has to go to in Italy and Europe more generally. There's always a cathedral to visit. And so a lot of that was about the antiquities of the area. Sicily is quite interesting for all of that. And the old town of Sicily, of Palermo particularly, is quite nice. So as a holiday destination, absolutely go there. It was great. We also spent some time in Milan, which also has a parkrun, but we didn't get to because we were there midweek. And Milan is also an excellent holiday destination. I think the whole of Italy probably is a great destination.
I want to take you back to your Canadian parkrun. Now, I don't want to destroy the glamour of coming first, but how many people ran? Was it Duffins Trail that
Duffins
day?
Trail.
Duffins Trail.
Yeah. So it was a snow day in Toronto, and a lot of the other parkruns in Toronto had been cancelled as a result of what was expected to be really bad weather. And Duffins Trail went ahead, and we got, I think, 10 people. So there was some competition. I think it wasn't that I blitzed the entire field, but it was a fairly small field.
So the experience, very foreign to us in Australia, to be running in those sort of conditions. Like, is it super cold? Is it slippery? How does it work running in the snow? And
interestingly, if there is a good bed layer of snow, it's actually quite easy to run on. It probably has the consistency of gravel when you're running on it. So I did quite a bit of running on my holiday in other parts that weren't parkruns. And
easier than duck poo?
Certainly, yes, I'd say so. So the snow itself just sort of crunches underneath your feet, and you're all very good. If there's ice, it's quite sort of treacherous in that sense. And sometimes ice is hidden by the snow, so you have to be a little bit careful. But I went hell for leather on Duffins Trail because I knew there was nobody in front of me.
Were you knackered when you got home? Because that is a big effort, and to do 2 more weekend trips as well afterwards. That I'm tired just thinking about it, to be honest. Like, I love a good adventure, but that's huge.
I personally wasn't tired just from the holiday, and certainly not from the running. I am a streak runner, and that doesn't mean that I run without clothes. That means I run every day. So regardless of parkrun or not, I cover at least 5 kilometres a day. So overall, the holiday didn't really tire me out. Getting to Auckland and back in essentially 24 hours, and getting to Malaysia and back in about 48 hours was fairly tiring. It was very difficult to sleep in the aircraft, and so that sort of made me think that perhaps that was enough.
Okay, Lloydy, tell us about this streak, because it's an impressive streak. We've spoken to a few streakers in the past, but yours is stretched out for more than 1 year, more than 2 years. How long have you been going?
I've been going since mid-2014, so it's coming up on my 5th sort of birthday for that in a couple of months.
Which equates to how many days streaking?
I'd have to check my my log, but I think it's at 1,748 days for me now.
God. And why did you start? Do you remember the reason why?
I don't recall, to be honest. I think I just wanted to challenge myself to begin sort of seeing if I could run every day and avoid any of the pains and aches of the day off, and I just kept going. So a bit like Forrest Gump.
Kind of on the theme of being a streaker, but not exactly. One of the running challenges that exist for parkrun adventurers, such as yourself, Lloydy, it's called Groundhog Day, and it's not easy to accomplish. You can get a Groundhog Day by doing 2 events in a row, 2 weeks in a row, and achieving the same finish time. You've done this 3 times, which I'm pretty sure is the record. There's like X amount of people who've done 3 Groundhog Days, and I don't believe there's anyone who's done 4. Was that intentional? Did you even know you had 3 Groundhog Days? You're just a really consistent runner? Talk me through it.
Right. Well, to be honest, I've never heard of this until now. So it's probably just a matter of being a consistent runner and getting basically exactly the same time each week. I haven't even sort of considered that. I know there are lots of challenges out there, like the second challenge and the alphabet challenge, but I don't really head in for those very much. But I'll be looking at parkrun Groundhog Days just to sort of see which ones they were and how I got them.
Yeah, well, you did the first 2 at the beginning of 2016. In January 2016, then you did the second 2 it's the second Groundhog Day, I guess, the 2 runs in a row at the end of 2016, and then you did another one in the middle of 2018. So
Well, there you go.
Yeah, there you go. I was just impressed because I would never even be able to do 1. I'm pretty sure 2 in a row. So yeah, to have 3, I mean, there's another record for you to go for because nobody else has got 4. So if you play your cards right at Gindy, you can just run the same time 2 weeks in a row. But obviously it's tricky because you have no control over the person who is volunteering as the timekeeper and whether or not their response to you crossing the finish line is going to be exactly the same. So
I guess I could aim for the patch and hope that they click at exactly the right time.
You could. Some people might call that manipulation, which is what I try to do with the stopwatch bingo. But I think it's legitimate and fair play.
Hey, before we let you go, Lloydy, tell us, we haven't had anybody on from Ginninderra, but it's one of the very first events started up in this country. Tell us a bit about your home parkrun.
Yeah, so I didn't realise that it had been set up, as I sort of explained earlier, when it had sort of started, and I sort of wish I'd got in sort of that half a year earlier than I did. But essentially it's a parkrun that's at a local park. We have an artificial lake, like all of the lakes in Canberra, called Lake Ginninderra, and we meet at the John Knight Memorial Park down here in Belconnen. And the course takes us along a bike path that goes around the edge of the lake, and then over into sort of a reserve peninsula next to the lake, which has sort of great gum trees and other sort of forest area. And so I really like getting out there on a Saturday morning and running with everybody around the lake. It's the same lake that I run most mornings, except I get to do it at 8 a.m. When the sun is shining. It's a really great group of people, and we're really hitting high numbers at the moment here in Canberra. So we're seeing sort of 300 plus park runners, but it still feels like a really nice little community.
What's next, Lloydy? You've got the record in the world for most consecutive events in different countries. Where do you go from here? What's the next big adventure?
Well, I think definitely I'm not going to stop going to other parkrun countries. So I am very eager to get to South Africa and Namibia and Eswatini to check out their parkruns. If I can build that into a 9-week streak or into maybe a 10-week streak, then perhaps I should do that. But I think I might just play it cool for a bit and just try some Australian tourism for the rest of this year.
We need to find out from Ian Hay, our stats man, whether anyone has visited every parkrun country in the world. So I think that's a goal you might be able to aim for, Lloydy. But well done on the recent streak. Thanks for joining us on the Parkrun Adventures this week. It's been a great treat.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Good morning, Parkrun Adventurers. It's Melissa here. I'm coming to you from Rosebud. Now, I'm sitting here in my car because I don't want to look like a dill wandering around talking to myself. But before I start, I just want to congratulate our very own Parkrun Adventurer, Channel 5 News crew, Tony O'Connell, aka Toc, who this morning will be completing Run Down Under. Now, Tony's completing it down at sunny Inverloch, and I'm very sad I couldn't be there this morning. So all my thoughts are with you this morning, Tony. I've sent Paul and Zoe, so Team Alice is represented. I hope you have a big crowd and you have a really lovely time. You're always so supportive of everybody else in everything they do. So I hope you get a bit of love and, yeah, have a great time. But meanwhile, I put my hand up to volunteer down on the peninsula, so I'm at Rosebud Parkrun. Rosebud's been featured on the podcast before, so I had to do a bit of research, listen back to the recordings, so I made sure I didn't repeat anything that had been said before. Rosebud is about 75 kilometres south of Melbourne, and it's the biggest town down here on the Southern Peninsula. When I was growing up, Rosebud was the popular summer holiday destination. It's got many caravan and camping grounds around, and the foreshore is actually quite well known for its camping area, which still exists, and it's one of the largest camping areas around on the peninsula. Also, Rosebud is being known as being a popular sea change destination for retirees down in Victoria. It's also home to many young families now, so suburbia is spreading, and it's no longer the tiny little seaside suburb. And so I'm going to go and see who I can have a chat to. Okay, I'm here with Ian Crawford. Ian's lovely wife Nadine was on the podcast last week, sharing stories of your recent New Zealand adventure. What I want to know, I know that you guys travel around here. You've converted a little van for camping and that.
We have.
You couldn't take that to New Zealand.
Well, I tried. I tried, and I found, look, we only went for 2 weeks, so it wasn't really possible. But if I could have got it there, I would have done. So we had a van very similar to that one, and we did the South Island of New Zealand. And yes, people last week would have heard all about our adventure.
Yeah, I expected that you might have done that holiday camping thing and those little camper vans that you hire.
Yes.
So I know you from Berwick Springs. So back.
That is going back a little bit, isn't it? Wow.
Yeah.
Yes, right back at the start of the parkrun adventure.
Yeah. So, but then you guys moved and you ended up running at Hastings.
Yes, Nadine and myself moved to Rosebud. It'll be 4 years in July, in fact. So for the first nearly 3 years, we crisscrossed the peninsula every Saturday morning, and occasionally one of us wouldn't want to get up, but the other one would egg them on and say, "No, we're driving." So it's a half-hour drive over to Hastings from Rosebud, and we love Hastings. But yes, we clocked up a few kilometres, hence why Rosebud came into being.
Yes, and I actually noticed your first tourist run was Kawana up in Queensland.
Was it really?
Yes.
Thanks, Mel. I never would have remembered.
Well, I just thought that was relevant, being that our podcast co-host is from Kawana.
Absolutely.
So there's the connection, and she is also a Zoolander, and I believe you're a Zoolander.
I am a Zoolander. If I can just get my hands into the Z, I'll give the special sign later.
You'll have to do it today for Tony, because he's an Inverloch. He's a Zoolander.
He's a Zoolander as well.
And he's completing Run Down Under this morning.
Fantastic.
Anyway, you guys came here and you are co-EDs, founding EDs of Rosebud. Just quickly describe your course.
So the course here is for people that don't like hills. It's extremely flat, so it runs along the bayside for its entirety. So we've got a little bit of a mixture here, mostly asphalt paths. There's a little bit of boardwalk and a little bit of just a little bit of dirt at either end as well. But it's a very friendly park run, because you actually pass the start and finish line twice on your way through, because it's a two loop essentially of the same thing. So you're never on your own on this park run, which is a little bit nice for people that feel lonely. There's always someone around. With
the older demographic down at Rosebud, that fits in really nice with the government's push to get more older Australians active. Do you notice that you have an older demographic running? Oh,
we've got a large mixture here. We do have the Peninsula Masters who have made this their own, and that's a group of the southern part of the peninsula here, and they get up to all sorts of athletic endeavours. They're here week in, week out, rain, hail or shine. Those guys are always here. So yeah, they're older guys. We do have a huge mixture from families upwards, though. It's a great mixture. But I guess the older guys, they really like the community, and that's something we've tried to do down here at Rosebud, is build in the community.
Now, here's the big question. Is there room on the peninsula for another park run?
Ooh, there's always room for another park run, Mel, you know that.
I do. No talk of one?
There's rumours. There are rumours. I've heard Frankston is quite likely. Frankston's of Northern Peninsula. Yeah. Mornington's talked about too. I've even heard Arthur's Seat whispered about, but no one's put one of these on the table yet. I believe Frankston is the most likely, but no one has actually
Then again,
started.
It took a long time for Rosebud. Lots of talking about Rosebud for a long time before it got going. So, yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, well, we'll just have to hope.
We're hoping that.
Okay. Well, thanks very much for talking to me today, Ian.
Thank you.
Hello parkrun adventurers, this is Mark from Canberra, and today I'm back at my home parkrun in Gunghalin after adventuring for my last 11 parkruns. For those playing along at home and listening to last week's podcast, today is Gunghalin's 287th event, which I believe is a Wilson Index Scott and Mel have not yet collected. Gunghalin is a region located in the northern side of Canberra. Gunghalin is an Aboriginal word meaning little rocky hill. Gunghalin has seen dramatic growth over the last couple of years. From the 2011 census, the population grew from 46,971 to 70,871 in 2016, making it one of the fastest growing areas in Australia. As the population has grown in Gunghalin, so has the Gunghalin parkrun community. From when Gunghalin Parkrun started in late 2013, getting under 100 attendees each week, we regularly see around 300 attendees each week now. The last time I ran Gunghalin was on New Year's Day, when a total of 599 people took part, breaking the previous record set on New Year's Day 2018, with 519 that year. Gunghalin also holds the record in Canberra for the most number of participants at a parkrun in Canberra. On New Year's Day, people could run the double at Gunghalin and then at Tuggeranong. Of the 599 people that participated at Gunghalin, 324 made the trek to Tuggeranong in South Canberra to achieve the double, along with another 268 others, making it 592 running at Tuggeranong. That record of 599 is way above the average number of finishes per week of 185. Last year, even during the winter months, Gunghalin did not drop below 100 finishes. The lowest number of attendees was 55 at event number 11 in 2013. Of my 135 parkruns, I've run 105 of them here. This is way up on the average number of runs per runner of 8.1 at Gunghalin. The person with the highest number of runs at Gunghalin is Brendan Brady, with a total number of 207 runs. Brendan is also the original event director at Gunghalin. Gunghalin Parkrun is a nice flat loop course around Yerby Pond. Being such a flat course, it is also a quick course. The average run time at Gunghalin is 31 minutes and 12 seconds. The male record holder is Olympic marathon runner Martin Dent, with a time of 14 minutes 25, which he set at event number 3 back in November 2013. That is also Martin's fastest ever parkrun of all 90 that he has completed. He holds a course record at a number of other parkrun events. Martin completed the 2012 Olympic Games, coming in 28th with a time of 2 hours, 16 minutes and 29 seconds. The female record holder is Paige Campbell with a time of 16 minutes 08, which she set only last month on her first visit to Gunghalin, breaking the previous record by 56 seconds. The top 24 fastest times are men, and then is Paige in 25th place. It's not until you get to the 60th fastest time when you find the next female, which is Marnie Ponton. Paige also holds the course record at Orange and Dubbo. Paige will certainly be somebody to keep an eye out and could one day be representing Australia on the international scene. Here at Gunghalin, the first parkrun day of each month is PB Day, where pacers set out to encourage people to challenge themselves for a PB. This month on PB Day, Gunghalin had the biggest crowd excluding the last 2 New Year's Day runs, with 389 runners. On that day, 96 people achieved a PB. That is 25% of those who took part on the day. With a total distance run here at Gunghalin of over 265,000 kilometres, that puts us 70% of the way to the moon. Next time you're in Canberra, join us at Gunghalin Parkrun to help us get closer to the moon. I guarantee you will love it here at Gunghalin Parkrun. I'm here with Rose, and Rose is visiting us from International. Where are you from, Rose?
I'm from Vancouver Island, British Columbia in Canada.
And what brings you to Australia?
This is a country we've always wanted to see, and we also have family here, so it's been nice to be able to see them here and enjoy their country.
Now, and I've been told that this is your second parkrun and second parkrun at Gunghalin.
Yes, and the first one was here as well, and what a beautiful run it is.
It is a beautiful run. Now, you're a visually impaired runner, I believe.
Yes, I am. I am a B2 athlete, which is the type of restriction of vision I have. I have about 5 degrees vision, which most people have about 175 peripheral, so I don't have any peripheral vision. And also I'm partially deaf as well.
And you've been able to find some local people here at Gunghalin to act as a guide for you the last 2 weeks.
Yes, it's been incredible. The support here is just amazing. Both guys, Victoria and Sophie, have been awesome. And for Sophie, it was her first time, and it was as if she was pro.
Now, you're also part of a group that does reach out and support each other, who are other people who are visually impaired. So what's that group? Yes,
I met my husband in a running club, and we both qualified for Boston. So I wasn't going to run it because I was afraid to do it with my vision loss, and my partner had volunteered to guide me. And it was an amazing experience. And it was something that I was unfamiliar with, and my husband is familiar with guiding, so he decided to start up a club or a Facebook page called Running Eyes. And the idea was to pair visually impaired runners to guides wherever we go. If we want to travel or somewhere, we can meet and run. It could be for an event or training, even triathlon training and stuff. So it's been amazing.
Yeah, that is good that there's that support network out there, and you said it is an international group as well. So
it is. It's
people,
all continents.
Yeah, that's good. So everybody can get out there and experience running. And how awesome is that you got to do Boston? Like that's something that I don't think I'd ever get to do, but it would be a fantastic experience.
It is, it's every runner's dream, really.
Yeah.
And funny enough, it was my worst run ever, my slowest marathon. But you know what? That didn't matter because the hard work was paid off just getting there.
Yeah, what an achievement. Well, thanks for coming to Gunghalin, enjoying parkrun with us here, and good luck with all your running.
You're most welcome. Thank you for having me here.
Scotty, I feel like I've been foiled. Well, I thought we were setting a hard task for Mark because it can't be easy. It can't be easy to join the Channel 5 news crew. Like, Melissa had to go hunting. She had to take donuts and pineapple chocolate, to lure Mel and Scotty to the events that she was attending. And what has Mark done? He's just happily happened across a Wilson index. And see, this is the thing. I don't think I don't want to use the word cheat because it wasn't a cheat. He played by the rules. I actually really enjoyed listening to all the information about Gunghalin. So nailed that. Totally nailed that. But I think to make things fair, the Wilson index number needs to be under 100.
Right. So I think what you're saying is that we didn't really think it through properly.
Oh, I know we didn't.
Because if we did, it's pretty obvious what he could have done, and that's exactly what he did. But I give him credit because in last week's episode, Mark said he's actually taking a break. He said, that's it, I'm done, you won't hear from me a while. So he's gone out and submitted another roving report when he didn't have to, and he caught up with the international parkrunner, and we learnt a lot about Gunghalin. So I just want to go on record that I'm okay to admit him to the Channel 5 news crew. But
okay, no,
there is some internal debate here.
Yeah, I'm not okay with this. It's not supposed to be...
Just on the record that you're the bad guy now.
Well, Mark, here's the thing. This is supposed to provide us with content and banter stuff for weeks and weeks to come. Okay? It's... Could you just... come on. Okay, so yeah, no, I'm not okay with this. I'm a pregnant woman. It's my prerogative to change my mind and change the rules, and I'm calling it, Scotty. You call yourself the boss of the podcast, but maybe I could be the boss of the Channel 5 news crew.
Yep.
And Mark, we're upping your game. The Wilson index has to be under 100. And maybe we need to make him find a Mel and a Scotty wherever he is too.
But is that it? Because, well, no, I'm not going to question it. I'm going to leave it up to you. And look, I hope Mark's coming to the listener meetup in a couple of weeks.
I hope so too. It would be awesome to meet him in person.
Hey, and Melissa Ellis was down at Rosebud chatting to Ian, following on from our chat with Nadine from the previous week. Nadine was great, but Ian, what a voice.
He's got a voice for podcasts.
And Melissa Ellis also gave a shout out to Tok, who completed Run Down Under. I don't know if you can get your head around that. He ran a long way. Like, it's a long way. A few people have done this Run Down Under thing, and it's remarkable. But Tok averaged 80 kilometres a week. Was one of the stats.
For more than 4 years.
That's crazy. I would like 1 week of 80 kilometres. Like one.
Yeah, I'm quite happy not to have a week of 80 kilometres. But yeah, kudos to you, Tok. That's just incredible. It really is. And I don't know whether or not you're planning on running around another country now, because I do know you can run around Europe. If that's going to be the thing, but I'm sure you're not going to stop. So more power to you.
Let's tackle, it's a bit of a quiet one on the calendar this week, Mel. So no launches again, but we have 2 anniversaries. One of them's close to home for us, sort of. Remember PK? I mean, when he entered the Channel 5 news crew, he didn't have to jump through hoops or submit challenge. He was just lucky enough to be the first member. But are we putting him on notice? Because we haven't heard from him for a while.
Well, see, that's the thing. He was quite prolific when he first started reporting in for us, and did quite a bit of adventuring around and stuff. But yeah, PK, what's going on?
Well, here's his perfect opportunity, because his home event, Mount Barker, is having their anniversary on Saturday. It would be great to hear from it. Hear some of the fun and festivities. So maybe PK, if you want to remain in the Channel 5 news crew.
You know what, Scotty? I don't know if he even listens anymore.
Do you reckon?
He might hear this in like 6 weeks' time and go, damn it.
It would break my heart. It would break my heart if we lost PK. But also St. Lucia is celebrating their first. I reckon it's their first anniversary. Yeah, I reckon.
Aren't we up to number 2 already in St. Lucia?
Let me Google it. While I Google it, let's go to the flash. No. Flashbacks is over, Mel.
There's no more living in the past, Scotty.
No.
What do we do now?
I don't know.
Well, I'm Googling St. Lucia because I'm sure it's got to be at least 2 years. I stand corrected. It will be event number 53. There you go.
Now, we were going to talk about iTunes reviews. We got a couple. And we're going to put it in the Facebook post this week. Remember, we had that controlled scientific experiment. So we're going to ask for more iTunes reviews. We got a couple. Not happy with one of them. Not happy at all. Well, I think there was a 5-star comment to it.
What?
I read them, people.
What were the comments?
Well, if you want to, go and read it on iTunes. I invite you all.
Okay.
Palm's coming up, Mel, in a couple of weeks' time. Have you been practicing?
I would be lying if I said no. No, definitely not.
Here you go. I think it comes in now. Ready? Go.
You know what I'm struggling with is the baritone, or like dropping my voice. Yeah, it could be quite interesting or embarrassing. We might have to embargo people who want to record it. A little bit nervous. Have you been practicing, Scotty?
No. Well, yes and no. It's come on a few times and I've tried to sing along. Yeah, I might have dudded myself a bit because Bradley Cooper is an actor who sings, so he's only got a couple of lines. Lady Gaga is a singer who acts.
She does.
So she kind of carries the song, and unfortunately, I've nominated myself to play her part.
I can't wait.
But we'll see how it goes.
Only a few more weeks.
How long have we got? 3 weeks. Yeah, Jesus Christ. Okay, I've got to go and practice. See you, Mels. Chat to you next week.